Hello there to Let's Chalk Chicago Bears. And it's Victory Monday. Yeah, baby, they won. So let's do a little song, just a few verses to make you laugh. You ready? Bear down, Chicago Bears. You got a victory yesterday. Bear down, Chicago Bears. You made me one happy lady. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. So bear down, Chicago Bears. That'll make you laugh. If they don't make you laugh, there's something wrong with you. So yes, today is Victory Monday. That's always a good thing. So we're 1-1. We obviously played a lot better in a lot of categories yesterday, and we're going to kind of go over that because if you watched my show on Friday, I pointed out 4 to 5 categories that really we had to really four of them I think it was. Well, it's in here. Watch and to improve, that needed to improve, and they did. So we'll kind of point that out, and just goes to show that I kind of do know what I'm talking about. Ba-dum, boom. All right, so the Bears won 20-17. Got a little dicey the last 5 minutes left in the game after Mr. Fields threw that interception and they scored. It was like, here we go. My daughter-in-law, it was my son, my daughter-in-law, and myself. We watched the games every Sunday together, on Sundays together. And she said, that's one thing I've learned, because she's from Nevada. She's not a Bears fan. Well, she is now, but she's like, I've learned from you guys the last couple of years to never get too excited, and it's never a victory until that fat lady sings. And I said, that's right, honey. That's the life of a Bears fan. It could be 100-10, and until we're in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, I'm not, no. No. So, but yeah, so there were some things, though. One surprising thing I got to say, the offense definitely looked better in some areas, and in some areas not so much. But, well, for the most part, they did. So the one surprising thing, though, but that has to do with the penalties they got. They only had 83 yards passing. Can you believe that? And then Montgomery had 61 yards of rushing. So there wasn't a lot of, and there was a few other things, Fields had I think he had like 14 yards or 20 yards rushing. So not a lot of offense yesterday, but enough to win the game. But the thing is with some of those yards, they were brought back by penalties, and we will talk about that. So, but I will say that I really would like to see Nagy run Montgomery more. Forget number 8. He doesn't seem to be able to do it. I know you want to relieve David Montgomery, but you know what? Again, back in the day, these guys just stayed and ran up and down the field. And Montgomery is, I see Walter Payton and Matt Forte in this guy. He's built like Matt Forte, but he's got that, that will, and that he keeps his feet moving like Walter Payton did. So I really do think that you need to just keep feeding him the ball, because eventually you're going to wear down their defense. So, and especially in the fourth quarter, you want to be eating up the clock and wearing out the defense. So I will give Nagy a thumbs up for his play calling yesterday. For the most part, it was good. Only one play behind the line of scrimmage pass, and I was like, thank God. But I was pissed when I saw that one, but it was only one. So, but I think he definitely has to use Montgomery more, especially if Dalton is going to be out for more than a couple games, more than 1 or 2 games. You're going to want to, because Fields, they're going to be going after this kid. I'm just telling you. So we're going to talk about that too. So on last Friday's show, I pointed out we had to the O-line had to improve from last Sunday when they played the Rams. And they looked better to me. They looked better. They did give up 3 sacks again, but on the other drives, but the other times when they were playing well, they played well. They just need to be more consistent. We did lose the one offensive lineman, Bloom or I forget his name, but he is being put on IR for 3 weeks, so he won't be back. So he's a rookie, so we're going to miss him. But to me, they did look better. So I'm going to give them a check for getting better this week. Again, they had the 3 sacks, but when they did hold the line together, they gave Andy Dalton and Fields time. Not every play, no, but way better than last week. So we're going to say, yes, they improved. Then I said, the defense, the entire defense. I didn't point out, like I said, the offensive line. Everything on the defense had to improve, and it did, and we all know it. It improved 100%. So they had 4 sacks. That was awesome. I'm sorry, somebody's actually calling me. How rude. I'm doing my show and they're calling me. So they had 4 sacks and they had 4 takeaways. And that is something I had mentioned on my last show on Friday, things to improve. The entire defense and the defense had to get some takeaways, and they heard me. They did both. So first, let's just talk about it because takeaways are awesome, and they were great yesterday. Eddie Jackson, who's number 4, he's our safety, after that stupid play last week where he didn't touch the guy that fell down and he had touched him on the 15-yard line. He wouldn't have run in for a touchdown. So he saved grace this week, and Eddie was all over the field. He was tackling, which he's not very good at, but he did, and he got a strip sack. So he got the first turnover, strip sack, and then the second turnover was from linebacker Roquan Smith, number 58. He went in for a touchdown. He caught it and ran it back for a touchdown, which I love. Jalen Johnson, our cornerback, number 33, he got an interception. And then in the fourth quarter, Alex Ogletree, linebacker, who I told you I really liked, they picked him up just about 6 weeks ago when Danny went down, number 44. He was rushing Burrow. He was in his face, and he's the one that caused the last interception, and that was to our defensive end, Blackson, number 90. And me and my son were both looking at each other. I go, who is Blackson, number 90? I'd never heard of him. And I said, I don't think he's a rookie. So he's been in the league 7 years, and he was with Arizona for the last 2 years, and he joined the Bears this year. And let's say we're happy because he was in there a couple times we saw him, and he was doing some plays, and I kept saying, who's 90? I'm still learning the numbers, but the numbers from before I remember. Once I see it, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. But awesome. 4 turnovers. I mean, the only bad part about that was we should have scored more points. Out of those 4 turnovers, we should have had at least 10 to 14 more points, in my opinion. And that's where the offense really has to work on that. If your defense is getting you balls and they're shortening the field, which they were doing, there's no excuse for not scoring more touchdowns. So another thing they have to work on is scoring more and keeping the defense off the field, which we won time of possession again, only by 3 minutes, but again, what did I tell you? It keeps your defense fresh and wears out their defense. And we were starting to do that at the end of the game. You could see they were getting tired and defeated until they got that last touchdown, and then they were all, and we were all like, I know that. I was like, all afternoon, and then with that touchdown, I was like, oh. somebody opened the plug on me and I deflated. But we ended up winning. So they need to score more. Okay, so the third thing I mentioned was they did really good with penalties last week, but they have to stay that way. Not this week. Bad, bad, and bad. They had 8 penalties for 70 yards. And one penalty. Now, this isn't considered part of the penalty. The 70 yards is what they move. Like, so a holding is 10 yards, you go back 10. An unnecessary roughness is 15, you go 15. So that's what those mean. But there was one play that I remember, and, I also wrote down, but Montgomery was running, and I think it was Fields. I can't remember, but I'm going to say it was Fields. Fields hit him, and he ended up getting 40 yards out of that one. It got called back because of a holding penalty. And there was a couple times where those penalties were very, very costly. That's why we only had 63 yards passing. Because I'm like, wait a minute, Dalton was passing, Fields was passing, and I was just like, and so then when I read the penalties, they were brought back. So all those plays were brought back, and there were at least 3 that I can remember were substantial yards, and it came back on a penalty. So very bad. And then we won. It was in the first half, and we had stopped the Bengals, and we were going to get them to punt and get the ball back, but one of our guys, stupid idiot, he hits the guy out of bounds, 15-yard penalty. Then we had another one in the first quarter when we had stopped him, and who was it, did the taunting penalty, and they got a first down out of that too. So both times we stopped them, and both times we gave it to them on penalties. And these taunting penalties, I will tell you, I think they're just a little ridiculous. I mean, what, you can't say anything anymore? I mean, it's freaking football. Okay, I know they don't want them, being rude or disrespectful or whatever, but it is football. So those things have got to stop. It has nothing to do with it. But all in all, we got to say that defense looked so much better. And they have to improve, though. They have improvement. But I'm sure they got I'm sure that they got an ass whipping from the coaches on Monday after that Sunday night game, which they absolutely deserved. And they came back and with 4 sacks and 4 turnovers. So that speaks volumes. They heard the coaches, is what they're saying. We sucked, so one game only, but they still have to improve because next week we're playing a harder line. The Bengals, the Bengals' offensive line was a lot like our line, banged up and not that good. And next week we play Cleveland, and I believe they have one of the better lines in the league, which we'll talk about on Friday. But so the penalties, as I told you guys, just killed us, and they're uncalled for, and they're stupid. So we need to stop doing that, right? Because that is just so bad. So the Bears, they really did play a lot better. We saw improvements, even though some of the numbers are less than they were last week because of the penalties. But I would like to see, like I said, Montgomery get the ball more. I'm grateful that Nagy was throwing down the field more, which that's what we needed. The bad thing was Allen Robinson did drop a touchdown. There was no reason why he shouldn't have had that. I've seen him catch harder than that. He must have taken his eye off the ball or heard the guy coming or whatever, but that was 7 points right there. So it could have been 27-17. There was also another play with Mr. Mooney, number 11, who was very active in this game, and they were throwing to him a lot. And I'm like, I mentioned that last week on Friday. Have to get Robinson and Mooney involved, and they did. Mr. Mooney, but there was one play where they were just off, and Nagy was saying today that had he caught that, he could have been still running. So, but and then Mr. Mooney had a couple of nice passes taken away because of penalties. So, the majority of the penalties were on the offense, not the defense. So I know that there was 2 for sure on the defense, and they were both 15-yarders. So they got to knock that crap off. I mean, we can't afford that. And a nice little bright spot last night, or yesterday. First time I've seen this happen since we've signed him, in my opinion. Number 94, Robert Quinn. He actually showed up. Where's he been the last 2 years? I said to my son, wow, he's finally earning his paycheck for once. Because he was all over the field, and he was involved with the first sack, him and I'm not sure who got credit for it. It might have been Quinn, but the first sack was him and Mac, and then Mac got his first sack on his own in the third quarter. But Quinn, it's kind of nice to see that happening, so let's keep it up. Everybody's got to go 110%, really the rest of the season, because, again, we have a tough schedule. And the only time it's going to get somewhat easy is when we're playing our own division. if Detroit and Minnesota continue to play like they are. Although Minnesota didn't look that bad last night. I only saw portions of the game yesterday. Definitely scored a lot of points. So, but they don't have a good defense, it looks like. So we all know that Andy Dalton went down. And Fields came in. Now, I know I could hear everybody screaming all the way over in Vegas. My son was screaming everything. And, he did fairly well. Yes, he got us to that victory. But there's still some things, if you really notice the things, like there was one play that they were saying, I remember it when he ran for 14 yards. I don't know if it was at the end of the third or fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, but Nagy said he missed the guy. There was a guy open and he missed him. He did the field and like the third guy or fourth guy was open, and he felt Dalton would have had that and would have stuck with it, but Fields, being still green, took off and ran. He got the first down, but the point is he is still green in certain areas, and we want, again, him to throw more than we want him to run. We have a running back. The more he runs, the better chance of him getting hurt. Now, he's going to have to run sometimes, and we're going to be grateful that he can do it because, yes, quarterbacks do have to do that. But we don't want him to be considered a running quarterback. And he did throw that interception, which is going to happen. Again, green, but again, this shows you he's not all this magic that everybody thinks he is. If Nagy doesn't screw him up, like I'm still very afraid of, he's going to be a great quarterback if he stays healthy and this and that, because you can and when you hear him talk, he's got a level head, he's not conceited, he's just a good person. And he even said after the game last night, I listened to the press conference a little bit, and he said, I have a lot to learn, and I made mistakes. And if I'm going to do this, then I have to really get going. And he goes, and I will. So, he owned up. He even said it. So he just needs experience, yes. There's just no doubt about it. But So next week, I don't think Andy Dalton will be playing Sunday. I think he'll be sitting out. So Fields will be in. So the schemes will be a little bit different. They're going to have more running, and that's what I'm kind of afraid of. But he's got to be thrown down the field again. They have to. We've got, between the tight ends, between Clement, our tight end, Jimmy Graham is a tight end, and then all our receivers, we've got quite a few receivers, and they can catch. Throw to him, and Nagy did that. You got to get that release off fast. See, that's the thing about Fields is being green is, he doesn't have the time to survey the field because of the line. Now, if the line were better, and like some of the lines I saw yesterday in games where they give the quarterback the time, then he could make those throws, but he's not there yet. He's just not, and that's experience. It has nothing to do with his ability. It's experience. So I just want everybody, again, pump the brakes a little bit. He's going to play, most likely, unless Anthony Dalton gets a lot better, but I have a feeling it will be Fields. So, and it's Cleveland. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to have, we'll have to see what happens next week, right? What happens in the game. And I did say that I thought Nagy did a better job calling the plays. I still don't like all of them because I want him to run more, but All in all, the Bears did a good job and we got a victory. And it goes to show the talent is there on defense, that's for sure. Because I don't know how they could play so horribly on that Rams game and then look so much different. Of course, big difference. Rams way better than Cincinnati. So that's a bit of a concern for me. But they took advantage of the bad team and they won. So that's what they need to do. Because sometimes Bears play bad teams and they play down to their level and then they play bad too. So, but they did. So, but they got to play. They got to clean up those penalties for next week and work on that offensive line. But all in all, let's just enjoy the victory. Give the guys some praise. And then they'll be back at it on Wednesday out there working their butts off. I don't know what's going to happen with Eddie Goldman. I don't know. They're talking about maybe having to put him on the IR injured reserve, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be on it more than 3 weeks. That's the shortest amount, the new rule. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it sure would be nice to have him back for a Cleveland game. So I'm gonna keep my eye on Eddie this week, and that's it. So all in all, pretty darn good game. I did point out some negativities because there were some, and there were more, and I'm not going to do it because, let's just enjoy it. As the season goes on, I might point up for more, bad things that they did if they don't keep up winning. Because next week's going to be a tough one, fans, definitely. But we're going to enjoy our Victory Monday, and you hear my cat over there yapping. He wants to be fed. I know. But yes, so, and let's see, anything else? No, it's a good day, isn't it? It's a good day to be a Bears fan. And to you, all my viewers, as I always sign off, I want you to have a good day. Be nice to somebody, make somebody's day, make somebody's week until I meet with you on Friday. So when I say make somebody's day, I mean the next four days before I meet you on Friday. So yeah, do that for me, because we all have to stick together during these rough times, very tough times going on out there. And it really makes me sad. It really does. What are you going to do, right? Yeah, I know. So I will see you guys on Friday. We will go over the, this is what I want to do. Make you guys laugh again. Because my new segment, I'm going to imitate a ref. Yesterday's game, Bears game, was a perfect one. I don't know, so if you noticed it, but it happened in the second quarter. I think it might have been the first quarter, and it was after we had gotten our first taunting penalty. So the Bears were backed up, and Dalton was still in. The Bears were backed up, and they were like on the 2-yard line, and they came after Andy Dalton, and they almost got him, but they did not sack him. But the guy said something to Andy Dalton because he'd got in his face. So Dalton turned around and said to the ref, "Hey," and I liked it. He said to the, "Hey," probably said, "You flagged us for less than what that guy just said to me." And he must have told him what he said because he took that flag out. And I don't know if you saw it, so I'm going to imitate him he takes his flag out, and he's looking at Andy Dalton like, "What?" And he threw the flag on the ground. He made a face. It was hilarious. So that's my imitation of the ref calling a penalty, a unsportsmanlike conduct. That's what this is, where they hold out both of the arms. Can you see them? Oh, wrong way. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Taunting. Shut up, refs. Okay. So, as always, I hope I made you laugh. And I hope I gave you a little information. And keep on watching. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I got to do a shout out to my Chicago White Sox. There are 4 games to making their magic number. So rock on. And I got a few shout outs that I'm going to do on Friday for some people. So stay tuned. I'll see you Friday. Bye-bye.